You guys have been asking me for a long time to do a pantry tour, and here it is, almost March. The pantry is already started to reduce in how much food I have stored in there, but I decided to go ahead and show you guys around all of my food storage areas. So here we go. Well, welcome to my pantry. It is almost March, and so we've been eating off of the pantry for months now, and I thought I'd bring you guys in, show you my different pantry areas, and see what's left of our food storage as we're starting to get into late winter. Here we are in the main pantry area. This is where most of my canned goods and preserved foods stay right here. I have a really big mix of all different types of canned goods. I also have a lot of freeze-dried foods kind of mixed in here. This is freeze-dried raspberries. Oh my goodness, if you guys don't have a freeze dryer, you should consider getting one just for the berries. They are phenomenal. But we also have a mixture of some meals in here. This is a turkey enchilada soup, and it is so incredibly good. I love having canned meals on the shelf. This looks like marshmallows, but it's actually freeze-dried white onions, and you want to talk about a great way to make a meal easier to make. Just have your onions ready to go, chopped and ready to go. We also have our dehydrated fruits stashed in here and around. These are prunes from our prune tree. Jams, jellies. Oh, this is a raspberry chipotle sauce that I canned this year. It is so incredibly good with a little bit of cream cheese and some crackers. Oh, so delicious. We also have a lot of pickles. You can see from my storage, we had a really good cucumber year this year, and I made a lot of pickles. I may have made too many because we still have a whole lot of pickles here. This is some apple juice. This is apple cider from our own apple trees. But then we have some more freeze-dried food over here, and these are freeze-dried chopped tomatoes. You guys, this is another one of those game changers. You can chop these things, stick them in the freeze dryer, and then you can use them however you want. You don't even have to peel them, so it makes it really, really fun and easy. We're still eating off of our home canned green beans. We eat a lot of these in the winter, and we've got a lot left, which is good because we're still a couple months away from having anything green in the garden. So these are really kind of the backbone of a lot of the vegetables that we're eating out of food storage in the winter. We do have some canned meats here. This is a canned chicken. These are another really, really handy thing to keep on hand. I love having these canned meats. They just mean we can have a really quick meal whenever we want them. They're not beautiful, they're not pretty to look at, but boy, they taste so good and they're so juicy, like moist. They don't dry out because they cook in their own juices. So it's just absolutely amazing. I really, really like this. What else have we got in here? We have, ooh, homegrown beans. I'm really excited about these. We just did a little bit of these for an experiment this year, and they are turning out so incredibly well. We only have about a gallon of them, so it's not a ton, but now that we know how great they are, we'll probably do extra this year. I also like to keep a lot of our bulk foods, bulk purchase foods in this area. We've got things like our maple syrup that we get from Azure Standard. We don't have maple trees here yet, and it's gonna be a long time after we put them in before we'll be able to tap our own. So I just go ahead and purchase this in bulk. Other things like extra good vinegars, white wine vinegar, apple cider vinegars, we keep all those on hand. Now, this is one thing I'm super excited about, and I've got to show you guys. And this is our own instant mashed potatoes. These are freeze-dried mashed potatoes, and they make a mashed potato powder. They are so amazing to rehydrate and cook up really, really quickly. So this is great because the potatoes were starting to get soft. We don't really have a great root cellar where we're at. So we kind of make do by just sticking them down in the basement, but that doesn't get them all winter long. So we went ahead and as they were just about to get soft, stuck them into the freeze dryer after we cooked them. and made up these instant mashed potatoes, and they're so incredible. I really, really like these guys. Now we do have some store-bought food storage over here. We don't grow all of our own food. There are some things that we like to augment with. Usually we buy them bulk when we can. This is from Azure Standard. So we buy a lot of stuff from Azure Standard to fill up our bulk shelves. Things like mild green chilies to have on hand, or black olives. There's just no way we're ever gonna grow those around here in North Idaho. I like to keep a little bit of pizza sauce on hand just for good homemade pizzas. We don't grow enough tomatoes here in North Idaho yet. So you can see a lot of the things we have are the tomato-based things. We've got canned tomatoes, we've got the pizza sauce, we have a good marinara sauce. We like to keep those on hand. One day, hopefully, we'll be able to grow enough, but at the moment, we don't. Most of this now has gone to just empty jar storage. As we're emptying out spaces, we're consolidating it, and then we put our empty jars here so they're ready to grab next season. But we do have some of our absolute favorite, what we call crabby sauce. And this is a crab apple sauce. It is so incredibly good. But I found a really amazing method for making this year, and that is that I used my steam juicer. So if I put the crab apples into the steam juicer, I get the cider off one end, and then I get the really thick pulp off the other. I run that pulp through the mill, and I have amazing applesauce, whether it's regular apples or crab apples, but we really like the crabby sauce. It's really tasty. But then we also get all of that good cider, and we can can that and use that too. So it's kind of like 2 for 1. This is a really fun item right here. This is watermelon rind pickles. Now, I know we've often heard about these, but they've kind of fallen out of favor, and they are phenomenally good. They're really tasty. The kids absolutely love them. They're kind of like a sour gummy bear would be the best way that I could describe these. I'm sure you could do them with all different flavor profiles. Let's go check out some of the other food storage items. Now, when it comes to our staple food, we like to store them bulk in a little bigger item. Things like these 5-gallon Gamma Seal buckets, or even these 55-gallon drums. In the drums, we have things like hard white wheat, whole beans, we have oats, oat groats, salt, sugar, other items like that, just so that we can stay nicely topped off for these items and stay ahead of the curve. In the 5-gallon buckets, we keep all sorts of other items that we don't need in quite that quantity. Things like baking soda, flaxseed, and anything else that falls in that smaller item would go in one of these. And we actually have a lot of them, but they're kind of spread out all over the place. We don't have a great spot for all of them to be all at the same spot. Here we are in the preservation kitchen. You guys see this area a lot because this is where I tend to film. That way I stay out of the busyness of the main household. But we do store quite a bit of food in this area also. Things like different jams and jellies. This is a rhubarb marmalade, and oh my goodness, it is absolutely delicious. We do have some tomatoes in here, and look, more pickles. I think I went a little crazy on the pickles. This is some chicken pot pie filling. This is a freeze-dried chicken pot pie filling. These make the most amazing grab-and-go lunches. If you can make some good freeze-dried meals, something that you really like, and can pack it into a small jar like this, and then you can just grab it and fill it up with some hot water when you're ready to eat it. Oh, these are so amazing. Here we are on the other side, and this has a lot of fruit and other freeze-dried things. You do see we do have some canned. Here's some plum jam. We actually don't go through the jam that quickly in our house. We don't eat a very lot of the sweetened jams. But we do try to make sure when we have a good fruit year that we get a lot in, because we don't always have a good fruit year. This is more of our freeze-dried foods here. These are our freeze-dried cherries from our own cherry tree. Those are really good, but they're not my favorite, I've got to say. These strawberries, though, are phenomenally good. These things are so amazing. I really like that. Here's some freeze-dried broccoli that we did. This is good. And these are the freeze-dried pickles that I tried. I had so many pickles that I went ahead and freeze-dried some, and they are so incredibly flavorful. They're also going to be a lot of fun for just tossing into things like potato salad, so that I don't have to go get out a fresh jar of pickles if I don't have one open. There's some more meat up here, preserved meat that we've got, canned meat, and some more apple cider. This is some of that beautiful pink crab apple cider. It's so delicious. It's so tangy, really flavorful. We have a tendency to throw these things into a crock pot with some mulling spices and call that the hot drink of choice for when the kids are out playing in the snow. That way we don't have to have quite as much sugar as like a hot chocolate or a store-bought cider mix. Right, now this is an area that I really want you guys to see. It's an area that I've been kind of embarrassed about for a while because it's just not very cute, but it is really, really practical. Now I'm excited because this year I'm gonna redo this area and make it what I want so that we really like being in here. This area is right off the kitchen, and the real benefit of this is an exterior wall, and there's a window right here, which means I can open this window and that window back there, and I effectively have a walk-in refrigerator most of the winter. So that means I can store a lot of food in here for a long time, which is really exciting. You guys know that in my kitchen, I don't really like a lot of appliances out on the counter. I feel like they clutter the area and they just make it not so nice to work in. I went ahead and created what I call my appliance bar, and this is where all the appliances live except for my most often grabbed appliances. Those may stay in the kitchen, but for the most part, they're back here until I need them. This is also where all the quick grab foods live. So we have buckets of things that we're gonna grab really quickly: salt, sugar, flour, whole wheat, things like that, and those live right up here. We refill these buckets from those big barrels down in the basement. We also have this great rack right here, which houses our eggs. So whenever we're getting eggs, they get to sit right in here because it's nice and cool. And then we've got a lot of my herb storage for my culinary herbs. When I am storing them in the fall and drying them in the fall, they come back here because we have this great airflow, but it stays nice and dry and it's shady. So it's like the perfect place for drying herbs. And they can actually sit out pretty well for about 6 to 8 months without losing much of their flavor, as long as they're in this whole form. So then when I need some, I just grab them, crunch them up, and they're good to go. And oh, they taste so incredible. Here we are out in the garage where we store all of our freezers and all of the meat that stores in them. Now, again, you guys, we have a really large family, so it takes a lot of meat for our household. We grow and raise most of our own meat here. So this is the pork freezer. This is where we have most of the pork and usually venison. We're already getting low on venison this time of year. This freezer right here is for lamb. We have beef. We do buy in a little bit of salmon because we don't have access to any good salmon. We like having a little bit of that on hand. And we have beef. Look at this big turkey we raised this year. We did a lot of them. So that's one of the remaining ones. I'm gonna get that guy canned up here in the next month or two. This also has a lot of the fat that we've brought in this year. So lard, tallow, all waiting to be rendered. But this is nice and full and should get us a long ways. But we still have another freezer. This is the poultry freezer. This is where we keep all of those chickens and ducks that we raised this year. This is gonna get us all the way through until next year. And one last freezer here. This one doesn't light up, so it's a little hard to see, but in general, this is our dairy freezer. And this is where we fill our, store our butter that we've made all year and our milk. Also any cheeses that we like to freeze, things like mozzarella cheese or ricotta cheese so that we can have them year-round go into this freezer. Hey, if you're ready to start storing your own food or even just more of your own food, check out this video right here where I talk about how to correctly store your bulk bought food so that they last for a good long time.